the song Snart är de alla borta contain a lot of sounds like screaming, breathing. Why did you choose to make those audio collage in the album?
I don't know. It's like when I write an album, I usually don't. I usually don't write songs. You know, it's like I consider like I write albums. I have a very big problem of just writing single songs. So basically, when I write something, I think about the whole shebang. You know, so it's like I see the cover artwork and I see track 1 to track 6. You know, so for me, it's. One could say that each song is just a part of one song, you know, so it's really hard to just pinpoint what exact moment is what, you know. When you hear me scream, I scream. When I sing, it's just like either it's premeditated that this is where I want to have that type of vocals, or it's just something that sprung out of the moment that it's all differs, but, you know, pinpointed to one song is impossible for me, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. You're playing in Eindhoven in December. How do you consider this comeback on stage?
We are not playing in Eindhoven in December.
Okay.
Because of the fact that, first of all, the guy who we used to work with taking care of that has actually not even informed us about anything, and I have just, about 2 weeks ago, I was released from a mental institution where I received electric treatment. After I went through, I basically collapsed after the recording of the first video, woke up in the hospital and was told that apart from the diagnosis of schizophrenia and bipolar disease, I now suffer from like a form of acute PTSD, you know?
Yeah.
So, all in all, yeah.
In your last interviews, you specify that you were not listening to a lot of musics. Were you more inspired by visual arts or movies for this album? What were those influences?
That's really hard to pinpoint, but I would say like I haven't been listening to music like one listens or should listen to music. I haven't been able to appreciate music for a couple of years now. So I would say that the influences usually come from, you know, the visual spectrum. So that, you know, if I see a movie and something that inspires me, or simply, you know, just by observing just how fucking dumb the human race is, you know, it kind of feels me along. So. And especially in this day and age with the fucking new generation C bullshit going on and all this woke culture and whatnot, you know, it's a thriving fucking age to live in, man.
Yeah. You indicated that Fidelis ad Mortem was written in 2001, but the group was not feeling it. How do you compare the reading of this single when you wrote it and when you finally released it?
Okay, this is partly true, because the thing is, we had another song as well that was a part of the whole album, but we cut it out because I was sitting and, you know, playing on Andy's acoustic guitar, and I played this little thing. He said, "Fuck, we have to record it." And I said, "You say that? Really? I've tried to do it since 2001, but it's never fit in a Shining thing." I said. So I got inspired, sat down and just made like something that we will be able to use as a B-side, but it ended up fitting the album perfectly, thanks to Andy. You know, so in one way, it feels like a pressure has been lifted from my shoulders in a way, you know. That I've always had this little fucking demon of a song in the back of my head, but I've never been able to, you know, materialize it in any way. So Andy just told me to go with it, and we would take it in production, and that's why it ended up the way it did. And it's kind of nice to have an 11th album that's not only self-titled, but also has parts that were written back in the days.
Okay. You published a gathering of your lyrics few years ago, um, and I read it, and it was awesome. But at the end, you can find a quote that you never wanted to translate it. Why?
That quote is about. It's impossible to translate it without making it sound like a fucking stand-up comedy show. But in Swedish, it resonates in a different way. I wrote that when I was incarcerated in a mental institution in Sweden back in 2008 or 9, I think. But anyway, the book, thank you for your kind words on that, but we're making a 6th edition now. It's going to be released in January or even in December. That's going to be the 6th edition of When Prozac No Longer Helps. That's going to include the new lyrics as well.
Oh, okay. I will buy it.
Thank you. That means a lot because, you know, from all our fans that actually buy things directly from Shining Legions, what people don't understand is that all that money goes back into the band in a way, you know. So
yeah,
for us, it's an enormous. I mean, that needs to show an enormous amount of gratitude that people support us in that way, because without fans buying from Shining Legions, Shining would be dead.
Did lockdown impact you mentally? Can we say that it was beneficial within the framework of Shining?
No, okay. First of all, I have to make one thing clear for people, and that is that when you go into a deep depression or like a state of depression and stuff, people say that that's the best way to get inspired. It's not if you feel real depression or real panic. It's impossible to write anything during such circumstances, because then if you are able to write music during the same depression, then it's not a real depression. But to get back to the first part of the question, what was that? Sorry.
Did the lockdown inspire you?
Yeah. Okay. So regarding the lockdown, it was good for me because it made me. I did like a show with Behemoth 2 days before the complete lockdown of Finland, and I don't know how it's over there, but over here it was like they completely closed for 2 years. Every restaurant, every bar, everything, and you know. Closing bars in Finland when basically the whole country is alcoholics. It's not the best, I guess. But for me, it was like being saved by the bell in a way, ironically, because of the fact that we didn't tour, you know, and I had time to actually contemplate and work on myself for a while, which I never had before in my whole life. So, you know, people talk about vacation and stuff. I don't know the concept of that, as I started working when I was very young, you know, with my own things, and I had my own company at the age of 15. So, and even employees at the age of 19. So, I think that the whole COVID bullshit just actually was beneficial for me as a person, but obviously it wasn't beneficial for bands touring and stuff. But if I would have been touring and the COVID thing didn't happen, I'm pretty certain I would be dead. You know?
Yeah.
So I was saved by a virus.
It's ironic.
I have COVID right now. I actually have COVID right now.
Oh, I hope you get well soon.
You know, the thing is that it's really funny because every disease mutates, you know. And, you know, I had COVID 3 times during the first part, and, you know, it's just like a fucking flu for me, you know. Maybe because I cut myself and abused my body in physical ways so much in the past that I grew a kind of resistance to it. That, you know, if I get a serious disease, it doesn't really affect me as it affects a person who lives a normal life. But I would say that now, you know, I haven't heard the words about, you know, this year's flu for 2 years now. So basically the flu has been interchanged, and now if you got the flu, you got COVID. So, you know, it's all about, you know, I don't know. You get sick and don't, and you know all these fucking diseases mutate. Like, have you heard about the mutated gonorrhea?
I have COVID three times too. So
no. Gonorrhea. You know, the sexual transmitted disease.
Oh yeah.
It basically there's a cure for it, but now the disease has. Sorry for knowing this, but I'm really interested in diseases.
No problem.
The thing is that it has mutated, so in a way it's being spread by young people mostly now. But the thing is, it's a mutated version of the gonorrhea virus that basically moves around in your body and, you know, mutates on your cells. So basically, if you get it, you will be pissing razor blade for the rest of your life.
Oh shit, that's sick. Oh god.
Yeah, so, you know, everything, you know, diseases and viruses always find a way, you know, because in the past, you know, 80s and 90s, you know, people were like, oh, fuck, AIDS is the new epidemic. Yeah. But now, for example, if you get HIV, you don't die. It doesn't become AIDS because of the forms of treatments that they have today, right? So basically what you have is that, you know, when a disease stops, you know, decimating the population of the world and loses its power, something new mutates and becomes worse, you know. So it's kind of interesting how
yes, it's very stressing.
Life grows in that way, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, go out and fuck, you know, and hope for getting mutated gonorrhea. Man, that would suck.
You collaborate with Maxime Tacardi when you were invited in his project called KFR for the single Serpent Kiss. It is the first moment that you start to collaborate with him?
It's actually an interesting story because I used to sing in a band called Diabolicum, and I didn't know that they made the cover, that Maxime had made the cover of the album that I sing on. But I had always followed him, you know, if I heard something about him or something, it was interesting because I always found him to be an interesting artist. Then, when I got in contact with him to do the visual aspect of the new Shining album, I took a listen to this band of his, and when he asked me then, would you be interested in doing some guest vocals, I said, you know, quid pro quo, you know, of course. But funny thing is that me and Andy, when we were recording it, I showed him the video clip that he had been doing and sent to me first. And, you know, Andy, who has been working with King Diamond for nearly, you know, 2,000 years, he was just like, this is fucking uncomfortable. This is really, really uncomfortable. And he was starting to think in matters of, you know, the new King Diamond album and stuff. So actually, I think Maxime's art started to inspire him as well. And I was really proud to do it. And I'm really happy to have been working with such an amazing artist. And right now, as you know, everyone thinks we released the album on Napalm, but we didn't. We licensed it to them because we have our own label called the Sinister Initiative.
Yeah.
So basically, we are licensing, so it's a co-release. But we have a band on Sinister Initiative with Thomas Tavanainen, who just joined Shining as well, that is called Cold Prophet, and we will be releasing a split 12-inch between Maxime and him early next year.
Oh yeah.
So you know, things have a tendency to come together in really, really fucking bizarre and weird ways, but everything is connected somehow.
Yeah, my next question was about your own label, the Sinister Initiative. Could you speak more about it?
But basically, the Sinister Initiative was a thing I started to I had an idea to be able to take over Shining and not have to work with any fucking middle hands. But obviously that's not possible with Shining, because Shining is a pretty big band and we have to have a certain a bigger label behind us to support. That's why we choose Napalm to license it to. But the Sinister Initiative started out as me trying to gather 3 different artists, Shining included, to basically cut our ties with the rest of the world and the rest of the music industry and just do everything ourselves. Unfortunately, I choose a couple of artists that didn't really share the exact same vision as I had, so it ended up, especially during the COVID time, as we were working at a band called Deinonychus, and it was impossible to do anything properly because of the situation in the world at the time. So back then we used to say like three artists, one vision, you know.
Okay.
But so now all that bad seed has been cut off, and we end up with just Shining, Kvarforth, and Hustle. So basically it's just, you could call it a temple that is built up on the core belief of, you know, destroying humankind. And it's connected with a couple of personalities that work together in more than one way. And basically it's a way to difference us from the rest of the fucking herd, you know, and keep things being made our way, you know, that we are more in control and can decide what to do and not to do. We don't have to listen to some fucking idiot telling us what to do. So basically it's kind of a juvenile way to step away from authority.
Okay. We all know you live for Shining and Shining lives for you. Is pain the only energy bond between the two of you?
No, I think that Shining is obviously Shining is obviously at the end of the day like a diary, you know, and it brings forth the most vile and disgusting parts of me as a human being. So it's a bit hard for me to differentiate, you know, what Shining is and what I am, because we're the same and interlinked forever. It's my legacy to this world, you know, and so it's really hard, you know, to difference the artist from the person, you know, because it's always been me, and I've taken it to absurd honest levels by opening myself up to, you know, without any fucking censorship, you know.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't know how to put it.
Okay, no problem. I heard it. Shining is the first and foremost your project, and then a lineup that surround you. How do you convey your mental state to the rest of the group so they can impregnate themselves of the mood?
Maybe how they do that to me.
Okay.
No, you know, I have a record of 92 people that's been fired from the band throughout the years. If I would look at this from like professional psychiatrist point of view, I would say that, hey man, you are the problem. And yeah, perhaps, but like you said, Shining is me, and I am Shining. So I put people into my world, and honestly, man, most of them can't handle it. Simple thing that, you know, I used to work with a lot of young people, and young people have a tendency to I don't know, to tell someone like me that they stand 110% behind something, that at the end of the day, when they realize that it's not a fucking game and not a joke, then they run away, you know, or do something that will cause them to be excluded from this group. You know?
Okay.
You did 2 covers for 2 separate records. The first one is Pick Up the Bones by Alice Cooper, and the second one was Call Across You Kung For by Dancing. Why choose those songs for a complete list that you post?
This is actually a tradition that started way back. You know, I think on Eerie Cold, when we recorded that, we started doing covers. And it was a way for me to try to challenge myself and see if I could pull it off by singing it, because I don't consider myself being that good of a singer. So basically what I did last time as well, we did like 4 covers. Now this time that wasn't different. So we did a dancing cover. This is basically a way for me to test the sounds and, you know, try my voice out and stuff like that. So we did a dancing cover, an Alice Cooper cover, and we did a few covers that hasn't been released yet, which is like one cover by Antoon and one by Phil Collins, and one by Thorsten. So it's this sort of thing that I have to do to kind of explore how I can use my voice as an instrument in different types of ways, you know. And I know that myself, I'm not that much of a metal guy at the end of the day. I mean, I like metal and black metal, but as for black metal, it's more of a spiritual thing for me. Yeah. So I would say that, you know, I'm still stuck in the 90s with that one. But when it comes to music in general, I've always been, you know, never been like afraid to you know, incorporate other things than what is considered okay to other people, you know. Fuck other people and their opinions. So I like to do these you know, things, and then if it turns out good enough, which I thought it did with Dancing and Alice Cooper, it ends up as B-sides instead of, like, you know, using because a lot of record labels and stuff, I remember, started like 10 years ago. They started to ask you, like, oh, we're gonna need you to do 5 extra songs for the Japanese and American release. Who the fuck does that? I don't write songs, like I say. I think more in the concept of an album when I write. So for me to record an additional song is pretty complicated, because if it's with Shining, I could never write a song only for being a standalone song. Yeah. There is one exception for this, though, and that is Ugly and Cold, but that was made for the Redefining Darkness album by me and Christian. And it ended up that actually we recorded it for real with the new lineup as well. So it hasn't been released yet, but we're thinking about doing that. Okay. It's the only song in Shining's in the history of this band, you know, history of Shining, that has been recorded, which is not a part of an album.
Do you see Shining as DSBM music?
No. You know, back in, I think, 96, I decided to take a little step away from the whole black metal concept, because of the fact that I was the only one who was religious in the band, and for me it would feel like almost a blasphemy to the Lord to take things in a way where I will work with people who were not also Satanists. So therefore I also decided to call it suicidal black metal, in a way to, you know, make something worse out of something that had stagnated in a way, you know. And I don't know. DSBM is what people now call this, and I think it's just I don't know. It's laughable to me, you know, because all these people who sing about, you know, oh, I want to kill myself and blah blah blah. That has never been the thing for Shining, even though people have a tendency to think that, because of the fact that they all, you know, all these Gen Z motherfucker, new generation whores, they have a tendency of reading the headlines but never reading the content, you know. So people will say, oh, suicidal black metal, why hasn't he killed himself? Well, you know, that's not the point. I want you to kill yourself. I'm your beacon of light, bitch. Understand what I mean? Yeah. So for me, partaking, or even, you know, it would take a lot for me to sit down and actually give an honest listen to a band that forms this kind of thing, you know, because for me, I find darkness in other things, real darkness. I'm not interested in a fucking long-haired motherfucker sitting at home and just broke up with their girlfriend or boyfriend and trying to, you know, get all the frustration out and maybe win that motherfucking person back by making some songs about sadness. That's not me. That's so far away from Shining as you can get, and as far away from me as you can get.
Okay.
Self-pity is something I don't really indulge in.
Why did you choose the medium of music to express your pain? Have you ever thought to express it? What?
Because I'm not an actor. I'm not an author. I'm a musician. It was. I started my first metal band back when I was 9 years old with Phil Laser on, and it's just the way it is. I chose that early on, and I knew that music was an instrument that I could use to my advantage, and I knew that I could eventually be good at it. While I could have taken different courses in life, maybe being an actor, but I'm not, and be an author, but no, I can't write stories of make-believe either, so musician it is.
So, thank you for your interview. Can you tell for who listeners your last words?
Yeah, thank you a lot for supporting Shining, and thanks a lot for the interview. It was interesting to talk to you, and it's always interesting to talk to someone who's actually a genuine fan, so thank you for that. And hopefully we meet one day when we start to take this nightmare and start performing it on stages around the world.
Thank you so much.